Hi everyone, here's some information on what items come in your FlightFeeder Orange kit. I'll be telling you about what some of the pieces do and how to connect it together. Unfortunately, every setup is unique, so we are unable to provide specific instructions on where to place the FlightFeeder or antenna. If you need ideas for mounting or running the cable outside, please see the FlightFeeder Orange instructions on our website or the optional section of the FlightAware setup. For the purposes of this video, the FlightFeeder Orange name will be shortened to Orange. Let's start with the main part. The Orange. It is a small computer that takes the radio signal broadcasted by the aircraft and is received by your antenna and turns it into something the computer can understand. It then takes the message and sends it to FlightAware. There are two types of messages received by this setup, Mode S and ADS-B signals. ADS-B messages include most of the information needed to track an aircraft, like location, tail number, direction, and speed. Mode S messages, on the other hand, don't include location. So if your station sends a message to FlightAware about a particular aircraft, FlightAware will look at the other stations nearby that also sent a message about your aircraft. And if 4 or more stations send a message, the location of the aircraft, it can be pinpointed. This is called multilateration, more commonly referred to as MLAT. If FlightAware is able to determine the aircraft's location using MLAT, a message will be sent back to the Orange telling it the location of the aircraft. This all happens fast, but it can take up to a minute to display on SkyView, which is a web portal to view the current aircraft traffic as your FlightFeeder sees it. Before you do any serious mounting of the antenna, you will want to be sure the equipment functions. To do this, start by connecting the antenna to the cable's N-type connector. The bigger part of the cable is the N-type connector. You will screw this directly into your antenna. Until tight, and then you will take the other side, which is an SMA connector, and you will plug this directly into the Orange. At this point, you will need to decide whether or not you're going to use a filter. The filter removes unwanted signals and only lets through the 1090 MHz signal the ADS-B receiver is trying to receive from aircraft. Since I'm in the middle of Houston, which is an urban environment, I'll be attaching the filter. If you live in a rural environment, you may choose to leave the filter off. If you aren't sure, try connecting the filter for a few days, then remove it from your setup and test it without the filter. If after removing the filter, the number of flights and messages received decreases dramatically, then you do need to reconnect the filter. The number of messages and aircraft your Orange received can be viewed on the stats page, and a link can be found in the Orange setup instructions, or after your setup has received a message back from FlightAware after sending your first message, a link can be found at the top of the display on FlightAware's main page that says My ADS-B. Click on to view your stats page and know how your site is performing. The number of messages your Orange receives will be affected by weather and air traffic, so if you're testing the filter, be sure to take that into consideration. If you're choosing not to connect the filter, just connect the antenna cable directly to the Orange. Once the filter or cable is attached to the Orange and you are planning to use a network cable, please connect the network cable, which goes onto this port right here. I'll be connecting via Wi-Fi, and that will be after powering it on. Once you've connected the network cable and an antenna, you will need to switch out the power plug. If this is not the correct plug, press the middle button, slide it right off, and connect the correct one by pressing down until it clicks. Ta-da! Connect it to power. Power up the Orange. As the Orange is powering up, you can choose to use the touchscreen pen provided in your kit, or you can use your finger to touch the touchscreen. Once your Orange is powered on and you need to connect to Wi-Fi, go to System, Network Setup, Wi-Fi Settings, scan for Wi-Fi, select your network, and then select Wi-Fi password. Enter your password and go back to the main page, hit Network. Make sure this is green. If not, you may have to select this or press Turn On over here. Go back to the status page. The radio button will turn green when your Orange has received a signal from the aircraft. MLAT will turn yellow once you set the orange location on the stats page, and green when there is synchronization between nearby feeders. Network will turn green once the orange is connected to the local network, and gateway will turn green once it's connected to the internet. FlightAware will turn green once a message is sent to FlightAware and it has sent one back. Once the radio, network, gateway, and FlightAware buttons have turned green, wait approximately 5 minutes and check your ADSB stats page, which will be a link in the top of the FlightAware webpage when you are logged in called My ADSB. The stats page won't be available until your site has received a signal and sent the data to FlightAware, which could take a few minutes or longer depending upon your location. Mount your antenna in the next few days. It will look like this. You can see the nuts are firmly tightened onto this so it can't move. You see we put the tape on to protect the connector from water damage. To turn off your orange, go to System, System Settings, Shut Down. Try to avoid just pulling the power on it because that can damage the computer inside. Good luck on your setup. Feel free to email any questions to adsbsupport@flightaware.com.